We're just real happy that you're here. I wanted to share a little bit about why we're here and what this project is all about. During the time that when the center opened last year for an art studio, some of the neighbors came in and they were sharing some wonderful things about when this community center was a school. These were things that we didn't know about. This is some history that might have been lost. I've done a lot of research here, and you might not know, where to start or what it's all about. 1934 is when this school was built. In 1934, 3 families in the community, Doris's family, William R. Penn, George Farrell, and Calvin Beverly. Those 3 families, their wives included, are names on our in our clerk's record that on July 14th, 1934, they bought this piece of property for the purpose of a school. Doris tells us that the community banded together and tried to get this school built. And then 2 days after they purchased this property, that you've got to remember this is during the Depression, 1934, they bought it for $375. 2 days later, they sold it to Campbell County School Board for $5 and consideration. Now, I don't know what that consideration was. I'm assuming that that was for a school teacher to be provided for all their children. Now, Doris was one of 14 and some of them came to this school, some came to a previous school that was down the road at Clara McCoy's house, 622 Winston Ridge Road. So we think that was a Rosenwald school, and we'd love to find out more about that. I've been trying to go through the Campbell County records, school board records, to find that information. But it's a fascinating story of a community that was very involved in trying to provide education for their kids in a time when it was a big struggle, and you might not have gotten the best quality books, and you might not have had all the supplies you would want, but the families wanted you to get an education, and so many of you did, and you went off and became teachers, and you led productive lives, and we're just really wanting to celebrate that.
The main thing I remember was being a retired educator. It was my first grade teacher that inspired me, Mrs. Mason, to become a teacher, because I was just amazed at this little short lady that could control 3 grades at one time. No discipline problems. She gave us such respect, and I think that's why we respected her. She was a gem. She was my mentor.
Now, Jacksontown as a community isn't really on the map anymore. But in 1934, it was on the map. You can see it. I have a copy of a digital photo I took at the Campbell County Library. And there are some other evidences as I went through all the court records to see where this land, how it evolved. So before it was a school, it was owned at one time. I guess the earliest record is 1827. The reporters have been getting it wrong. It is 1827, and I have the documentation over here on the board. Phil and John Jackson bought this property, and they were free persons of color in 1827. I don't know that they are the originators of the Jacksontown community, but they very well may have been. They had a lot of children, and many of the children probably might still be in this area. So I have some genealogy information if you want to look at that. There are resources out there, and I don't want you to give up hope that you can't find information about your family, because there is some information. It's hard. It's a real hard time, struggle sometimes to find the information you want. Tanya and I found that out yesterday, but we found a few nuggets, and after a while you start picking the pieces of the puzzle. We're just really happy that you're here. This is a time when we wanted to celebrate you, celebrate the community that you grew up in, and learn from you. I've got a lot of little question marks out here. A lot of things I'd like to know more about. And we're trying to put all of this together in a book. The Lynchburg Museum is interested in this information. The Campbell County Historical Society is interested in this information. And we want to preserve this history. And if you don't share it with us, we won't know it. So please avail yourself of any opportunity. We're going to have opportunity for you to look at what we have done in research. If you have any questions, be glad to answer them for you as best I can. We got tables set up outside. If it's not raining, you're welcome to go out after a while, and we'll have lunch outside and get a chance to reacquaint yourself with each other. We're so glad that you're here, and we hope that you enjoy your day. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before you disperse, let's just give Marcia a hand. She's put many, many, many hours. And we're excited to be here with you.
I think I can remember maybe helping put wood and coal in the stove sometimes. We had a big pot belly stove that you put coal and stuff in the stove to keep it warm. I did that a couple of times.
I came here today because I want to be a part of a great celebration. And this is a reunion that, in fact, is the first reunion to my knowledge. I think it's great. And believe it or not, my wife today, I met her here in this building back in 1956. And you never, at least I never would have thought that I would end up marrying her. And today, we still married, 42 years of marriage. So this reunion is something that I look forward to coming down and just seeing everybody, old friends, and just enjoying each other. So I'm just happy to be here.
I love to play ball. That was my favorite game, was playing ball.
Playing ball, like baseball?
Yeah, baseball. Just a group of girls. We played baseball every day. From 12 to 1. That was our lunch hour.
Okay.
Yes, we had a good time, and the teacher would ring the bell. We had to drop the baseball bat and come in. Because we didn't have a baseball bat. We only had a big, fat plank. And we would hit the ball. I was the infielder.
Okay.
Yeah. And we were knocking in the pies, and I had to go get the ball. But it was all fun.
Used to love to play football and basketball, baseball, ping pong.
And then we used to play jack rocks. We had a ball, but we didn't have the real jack rocks. We only had rocks to play with, but it was fun.
Well, I used to beat Allen all the time in basketball. That's the only thing I remember. But
I wanted to see a lot of the people that I hadn't seen, and just to see what the, how the center, the school has changed.
Has changed a lot?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Don't have a pot-belly stove now
No.
either.
And where the kitchen is now, that was the cloakroom. They had a rope back in the back of the woods, and the kids used to go back and swing on it.
So what else talk about the swing?
And I never will forget it. It always stuck with me. This girl was swinging back there, and she lost her balance and fell off of it. And we all ran and left her because recess was over anyway. We should have went back to school, but we wasn't.
Well, I've lived on Winston Ridge Road for 47 years, as I said, and I always pass this place, and I have a good feeling about this place. So I wanted to come today to celebrate all of the wonderful things that have happened here, and now I understand it's an art studio.
Yes,
But my daughters enjoyed it as a rec center when they were growing up here on Winston Ridge Road. So this is a good place and has a lot of good history. And I just wanted to come by and feel a little bit of that today.
We had really good sports around here, and I played with the girls softball team, and I remember one time Cotton hit the softball in the bushes back there, and we all ran to get it, and we saw some graves. Yeah, I don't remember the names on them because that's been, 40 years ago? But that was cool. Nobody was scared. We were just all curious, and we had a good time. We had a good time at the center. We had different events. The girls actually got as good as the boys would pool. Hey guys, sometimes we would beat them.
We were known for the dances, baby. We had great dances here. We played outside, we played inside, and Dorothy Walker was the director at that point. And we had a great time. We played softball, we had intramural sports. I'm telling it all, Chris. We played softball, we played basketball against the different hills, because you know Lynchburg is a town of hills. Now, Jackson Heights, we were very good. So a lot of times we had to fight our way out because we would always win. Huh, Carlin? We was winning, baby. So we had to fight our way out of Durrington, White Rock, Timber, wherever we played. So that's just how we rolled over here in Jackson Heights.
I live out of town now, but I heard about this when I was in town last weekend, and I grew up here. Alan and I played basketball. We did everything up here. So I said, I've got to come back this weekend for this reunion.
I remember in this class just being in with the other 4 classes how we learned beyond our own grade. Even though we had assignments of our own, we were listening while the others were being taught. I was here from the 1st grade to the 3rd grade. I also remember Miss Mason. She was just sweet, just kind of soft tone. I never heard her scream or holler or just lose her temper at all. And we had the best food.
That's what I was
ever.
going to say.
Best food. I mean homemade rolls and down-home cooking that we sat right at our desk and ate. And had the best milk. The milk was so cold. It was ice cold. It was so good.
Yes.
But this was just a sweet experience here in this 2-room school. And by the way, my wedding reception was here.
My
we
wedding
had a
reception
band
was here as well.
What year was that?
Mine was in 1970.
Mine was 1969, right after I'd gotten out of college.
Yes. Had a band here. But it was a recreation center at that time. But this school just has really sweet memories.
Well, I just found out this year that Grandpa was one of the men that, helped build the school.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so that was new to me. Yeah.
So who told you that? How'd you find out?
Listening to my mom and my aunts talking about it. And, they let bits and pieces out, and we finally sat down and talked about it, and everything came together. But Jackson Heights Community Center has been a part of our lives for as long as I can remember. I was coming here when I started maybe when I was 10 years old. And it was a recreation center then, and Miss Martin was the first director I think we had.
Okay.
And then it was Miss Harris and Miss Booker, Miss Cardwell, then Miss Walker. Miss Walker was the last one, I think. No, Annette was the last one, but Miss Walker was the longest tenure here. Yeah, for years. And she took care of us. We had dances, art classes, we played games, softball.
Dances.
Yeah, we had dances every Friday. A lot of fun. So we had a good time here.
We're part of the history of the community center. We did a lot of things here. We didn't have school here as my aunts did. Doris Penn Woodson and Arnitha Penn Hayes are my aunts, and my sisters were able to come here as students. I didn't have that luxury. I went to another school or two.
You went here as a recreation center?
Yes, I was here for the recreation center. When my mother would let me come, because we lived way down there where the Penn sisters were. So I didn't get to walk up here a mile up the road to do this very often. But when I did, it was fun.
Every Friday, we would have a dance, and kids from all over Lynchburg would come over here to dance, you know, to enjoy our dances, because we either had a disc jockey or we had a band. We always had one or the other. Mostly bands. We had bands from around the surrounding area would come over here and play for us because they would practice before they would go somewhere else to play. So this was like their practice place. So when they practiced, we had dances and we danced to their music. And people from White Rock Hill, Midtown, Dandridge Hill, Timbertree, they would all come over here, you know. And for a long time, our dances were free. Then I think we started paying like 50 cents to $1. But we always had people from all over to come to Jacksontown because this is where all the kids were, and, you know, we were safe and, you know, we looked out after each other.
And we're collecting information for the Historical Society and the museum on World War II soldiers and time during World War II on the home front, old schools, histories of churches, cemeteries in the area, the local families, gathering up oral histories, all sorts of things. A lot of the same things that Marcia with Parks and Recs is doing here today.
I'd like to thank the City of Lynchburg, the Recreation Department, and all those involved in this endeavor to get this reunion back together. I think it's just fantastic. In fact, when we came down the road and just saw the parking lot full of automobiles, I was just amazed at the turnout. And then to walk through the building and to meet your, as you might say, classmates. Of course, a lot of them were older than I am, but it's a great feeling, and I just feel so at home and relaxed, you know, with the atmosphere. And again, I want to thank you and your staff and City of Lynchburg for continuing to save and restore places like this, because you can't buy memories. It's something that's instilled in your mind. And we never will forget old Jacksontown. Thank you.